I left the Borderlands behind and returned to Stormreach Harbor. Word had spread of a rising cult, one the Silver Flame could no longer ignore. They sent me to meet an inquisitor named Nomen. We tracked the cult to an old warehouse in the center of the harbor. Once inside, he gave me 2 tasks: clear every room and slay everyone inside. I asked him, "Is it truly the way of the Silver Flame?" He didn't hesitate. They will find absolution in the afterlife. Something about that didn't sit right with me, but the mission had already begun. Once the first room cleared, we split up. It's time for me to push forward, alone. I pushed deeper into the warehouse. Room by room, I cleared the way. No questions, no mercy. I found hidden altars soaked in blood. I took a moment to cleanse them, to try to bring some light into a place that had long forgotten it. Pressing further in, something fell off. Too quiet. That's when I found the novice, broken, lying on the ground, alone. Nomen was gone. Somewhere along the way, we stopped being the hunters and became the prey. I found a hidden lever behind a dusty bookshelf, revealing a passage descending beneath the warehouse. It became clear this was no ordinary place, but something far older and far more sinister. The air grew heavy and the path was lined with traps. I pushed through carefully until I reached the end of the corridor. It was guarded by warriors far stronger than the cultists above. Then, from the darkness, a woman's voice whispered Nomen's name. That's when the truth became clear. He hadn't vanished. He hadn't been taken away. Nomen was one of them, an inquisitor of the Silver Flame, working from within. But for what end? And how deep did his deception go? I descended deeper to confront Nomen, but it was already too late. The woman he had been speaking to shed her disguise, a Rakshasa, confirming the involvement of the Lords of Dust. The further I pushed, the stronger the resistance became, forcing me to pause briefly at a shrine before continuing through traps and shadows. At last, I found him, standing next to a drow wearing a spider mask, the mark of the spinner of shadows. Before I could act, Nomen revealed his true form and struck down the 8 cultists around him, not to save them, but to complete something. As I moved against Nomen, the drow did not react. It was as if his death had been part of the plan all along. As Nomen fell, the drow began to applaud, thanking me for saving him the trouble of betrayal. We clashed soon after, and though the battle was fierce, I emerged victorious. Or so I believed. With his final breath, he revealed the truth. His death had been the last step of the ritual. The room trembled as a spider-shaped statue above began to glow, its power awakening something far beyond that chamber. I rushed back to the harbor, only to find the cracks along the port wall had burst wide open. Whatever had been sealed was no longer contained. And in that moment, I knew exactly where I had to go next. After the harbor was breached, I sought out a Paladin of the Silver Flame to learn what we were facing. The Lords of Dust had torn open the wall, revealing a hidden passage into Khyber. Rakshasas and drow had already entered the breach, pushing towards the prison of the Spinner of Shadows. If they reached it, the consequences would be far worse than anything we had seen. My task was simple: find Brother Aurelius. I followed the trail into the depths, searching for any signs of him, until I found pages of his journal. Whatever happened here, he didn't leave willingly. I learned that Aurelius had been making his way towards the Spinner of Shadows prison, sealing the path behind him with silver flame runes. I followed his trail deeper into the cavern, fighting through relentless enemies determined to protect the others ahead. At the heart of it, I found her, the priestess leading the ritual. Her powers seemed to hold the path open of the prison itself. After a brutal battle with many waves of her fanatics, I finally brought her down and broke the ritual. Beyond the chamber, I found Aurelius alive. He thanked me, but there was no time to rest. Some of the cultists had already made their way inside. If they weren't stopped now, whatever was waiting within would be unleashed. I had to follow them into the prison. I entered the Spinner of Shadows prison and made my way through a long, silent corridor. When I reached the main chamber, I saw glowing spiders feeding on the very flames meant to keep the prison sealed. The barrier was falling. Then, she broke free. Before I could react, an enchantment took hold of me, freezing me in place as I watched it unfold. A Lord of Dust stepped forward and called upon her to aid them in freeing the other overlords. She turned on them and destroyed them without hesitation. Now free, she spoke of no longer needing the Lords of Dust. And then, beneath her, a blue flame ignited. In that moment, the spell binding me shattered. It was time to act. The Spinner of Shadows still lingered within the prison, weakened, while the Silver Flame Guardian struggled to hold her back, its light fading after being drained by the Flame Eaters. I moved through the cavern, destroying the spiders and reclaiming the stolen essence of the flame. As I ignited the final ward, a brilliant light filled the chamber and the prison surged back to life. But the spinner didn't cry out in pain, she cried out in triumph. She had been heard. Across the plain, something answered. Lolth had come to free her, and in that moment, I knew I was no match for a god. I awoke within the Church of the Silver Flame, saved by the Guardian before the prison collapsed. I don't know how long I was gone, but when I returned to Stormreach Harbor, the breach had changed. A group of gatekeepers had managed to stabilize the rift, holding it open, but barely. I was given a new task. Enter the rift and report what lay beyond. What I found was unlike anything I had ever seen. The Demon Web, a realm of shattered worlds, bound together by Lolth's design. And within it, something unexpected. A human. Could it be Elminster? The very one she spoke of? The wandering man was indeed Elminster. He had entered the rift when Lolth's guard slipped, watching as her influence spread beyond this realm. He spoke of a war already unfolding near his home, in a village called Evening Star. This rift and that war were part of the same plan, and now so was I. He urged me to find a way back to Evening Star before vanishing into the void. I pressed on through the demon web, where I witnessed something I was never meant to see. Lolth herself and her sister. The Spinner of Shadow let go of her physical form, becoming one with her. I didn't stay to watch what came next. I had to reach Evening Star before it was too late. I pushed deeper through the demon web until I found a small portal. I had no idea where it would lead, only that it had to be better than staying. I emerged into a vast cavern far beneath the surface. There, I encountered a group of heavily armed drow, unlike anything I faced before. It had to mean I was getting closer. After fighting through their outpost, I found another portal and pressed on without hesitation. This time, it led me to the surface. More drow awaited, guarding a group of prisoners. I freed them, and in their relief they spoke a name I had been searching for. Evening Star. At last, I had made it. And whatever awaited me, I was ready.